Welcome to the program, Yvonne Chapman.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming back on the program. It's been a couple of years since last we talked, and when you were on, we uncovered the lies that Big Grocery
Right.
was selling
That's
us
right. Yes.
with red onions and
How dare
whatnot.
they?
How dare they? Yeah, blueberries. They're all purple, people. They're all purple. But now you're back, and of course, you appeared in episode 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender as Kyoshi, Avatar Kyoshi. Huge role. People love this character. And I know you yourself, as a fan of the show and stuff, you did great research into reading the Kyoshi books. So for your big episode, how was it like taking all that information and all that, character development and putting it into that performance?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. And at the end of it, it was really about serving the story of Aang and the circumstances that we were in. So taking all the information was a bit overwhelming, but fun to do because, like you said, I'm a fan. So rereading the books, rewatching the show, oh, such a hard job. No, it was delightful. So I got to do that and then just really played with the scene and had fun with Gordon.
Yeah, so like obviously Kyoshi, as Andrew mentioned, is a very popular character from the series, one of many popular characters from the series. What was it like when you that day when went to set and you had the full costume on and the full makeup that Kyoshi wears, yeah, and you saw yourself in the mirror. What was that like experience? It would be like, oh shit, that's me.
Yeah, it felt complete for one, and then second, it felt unreal because I don't think anyone's gonna recognize me from the show. It's literally wearing a completely different face, a completely different mask, but it was so helpful because that is her, and I got to step into that. So shout out to hair and makeup and wardrobe for doing that.
So wait a second, you're saying that the glowing eyes wasn't natural?
Well, it actually was. No, I'm just kidding. It was
That would
part
have
of the
been
research.
yeah, that would have been really interesting if you're like, yeah, I got them to do it this way. Jeez, everybody knows this. I'm
Like,
like, oh,
just give me
okay.
a sec.
Yeah.
On your CV, it has that as your special skill. I got glowing eyes.
Glowing eyes. Oh my
That's
God.
how I got the role.
Yeah.
Well, I will say your eyes do sparkle, but
Oh, that's very nice.
you're welcome. But of course, the character Kiyoshi, 7 foot tall. You're a good height, but you're not 7 feet. You were standing on boxes to tower over young Gordon Cormier. So when you were shooting that scene, was it kind of awkward being like so high up above the little man?
I mean, because of who she is, and she is 7 feet tall, it was really great because it was like again completing the whole package of who she is. But it was kind of funny because I was on a platform and Gordon was just in a box. So like he was lowered and I was higher.
Yeah.
So it was pretty fun. I wish I don't know if there's photos floating around of that, but it was kind of funny.
That's awesome, and of course, recently this week I think it was this week we got the news that officially Netflix has announced that seasons 2 and 3 are a go, which is great news, obviously for fans of the show and of all the entire Avatar universe, but also that means that we should be seeing Kyoshi again in the near future.
I haven't heard anything.
Uh, okay.
Truthfully, I have no idea. I mean, of course, that would be my hope, but no, I haven't heard anything yet.
Mhm.
Man, well, again, Avatar, much beloved show. And of course, one of the things that is heavily involved in this production, and of course, other productions you've been in, like Kung Fu, the stunt teams, stunt coordinators, stunt performers. We have, of course, the Oscars coming up this weekend, and it's yet another year where stuntmen are not being recognized for their work. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that there should be a category for stunt performers, stunt coordinators?
Uh, Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the amount of work that they do in making us look so good, and it's a no-brainer to me that there absolutely should be. So I'm surprised that there isn't still.
Yeah, it still continues to baffle my brain that, and no disrespect to any other category, right? But like we have
Of course
every other
not.
category that's on a film set, right? Like, why not stunt performers?
I completely agree. They add so much to the production on so many levels. Yeah, to me it's baffling, like you said.
It
Yeah.
it is a crime, is what it really truly comes down to. A total and utter crime. But that's cool because, like you said, you've like we mentioned, you've worked on projects where you have to have stunt performers either coming in or helping you in a scene to do the navigating the fights and stuff like that. Um, in obviously in Avatar, like you do have some of that, in your episode as Kyoshi. Um, was what was that experience like compared to, say, like Kung Fu, where it was more of a, one-on-one personal battle scenario, whereas with Kyoshi it's much grander, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, they're both completely different styles, and Kiyoshi being 230 years old and the commander of all elements would be very different from Jalan, who's just more hand-to-hand combat and weaponry. I really loved what they ended up using for the Avatar show. The sequence was a bit longer than what you guys actually got in the final cut, but what I really loved was the power that it showed, where she's like barely breaking a sweat.
Right.
And she's basically just sweeping around saying, bye,
Yeah.
bye. I loved it. So I was really, really happy with the end results.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, yeah. Well, we hope you get to do that again because you did some great work there. But of course, this past week it was announced that you're going to be popping up on another show for season 4 of Superman and Lois, playing the character Amanda McCoy, who in the comics, one issue, but in that one issue, she finds out the identity of Superman.
She does, yeah.
But in this, it's a bit of a different take on this character, which again, when you have a character that has such a limited history, the writers can go off and do something very different. Tell us a little bit about Amanda.
Yeah, so she is the closest ally of Luther. And while spoiler alert for those who haven't seen season 3, while Luther was in prison, she's the one who's running Luther Corps. So she's the reason why he's still making money. Let's just put it that way. But she's there to cause a lot of trouble. So I'm excited for you guys to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, because
It's a great final season. Yeah, fans are going to be happy.
that's awesome, man. Because when I saw that there, I was like, oh, that's great. She's going to be on Superman and Lois. And so do you get like you've been working on it recently? Because I know that in all your other interviews, you're like, I got something coming out soon that I can't talk about. We're working on it right now. So now to finally be able to bring like that out, to mention that, oh, by the way, I'm on the Superman show. That's got to be like, okay, good. I can talk about that now.
Yeah, it's just like it's the excitement of working on something and you want to talk about it, but then you can't, and then now I can. So
Yeah, yeah,
so I'm glad I can talk about it now.
that's good.
it,
And
it,
working with Michael Cutlets, like, has that been a lot of fun?
Oh, he's great. He's so great. From day one, he has welcomed me. He's so gracious. He's a phenomenal actor, as we all know, and the nicest guy for a villain. Uh, it's kind of mind-boggling. You see him on set and he, like, when camera turns on, he's terrifying. Camera turns off, nicest guy. I've just it's baffling. He's great.
Hmm.
I well, that's obviously actors, because it's I've asked this about people before, like, working with people who can be so evil in one moment and then so like nice the next, right? Like, it's because when you're a good actor, it's hard to separate that, like from an audience perspective, because you just like, because I know I've heard stories about people that see like a villain as they're walking down the street in a city and they're just like, fuck you, you suck, and they're with their kids or whatever, and it's like, hey man, like, just, it's okay, just calm it
Acting,
down. Yeah, right.
acting.
But it's good to hear that I've heard also that he's a nice guy, but it's nice to hear somebody also like that we get to talk to that says the same thing, because too many stories these days about performers. But I when you look at all of this, right, like when you were mentioning about not being able to talk about these roles sometimes, right, like as an actor, like How frustrating is that for you? You know, like, because you couldn't talk necessarily about Airbender until they made the announcement. You couldn't talk about this until they made the announcement. Like, is that one of the more frustrating aspects of being an actor? Like, especially when you've got like, oh, I like you're super pumped and excited about a role.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's frustrating. I think it's just I'm just so excited to discuss it with people eventually that it's just more of the anticipation, I think, of being able to
Mm.
share it with everybody. Um, but at the same time, when these things are announced anyway, before they are, you're just so, for me personally, I'm just so caught up in the work that I'm really focused on that. So when it's time to speak about it, it kind of plays out as it should be, and then you're done it and you get to actually say a little bit more about it. So
Yeah, it's good. But now you're in a spot where it's like you got to say a little bit more. And that's pretty much all you can say until the episodes start airing.
yeah. But it's good. It's good. Keeping the
Yeah.
element of surprise for everyone.
Oh my God. But of course, you're not just working on Superman and Lois. You have other things in the can. You've been working on you've shot a pilot for it. You're working on trying to get a docuseries out, Reppin' on the Road, based on the Reppin' podcast with Evelyn Kong. Tell us a little bit about you guys' trip to New York to shoot the pilot episode.
Yeah, so I met Evelyn when she had me on her podcast, and we just became really good friends, and she's honestly just one of the best human beings I ever met. Then she was talking about the docu-series and thinking about doing that, and I said, "Yeah, let's do it," because what she does on her podcast, I think we need more of, and it'd be nice to have the video aspect of it. She gives a platform for diversity across the board, for people who have contributed in meaningful ways to their community, and giving them a platform to say that and to showcase that. Um, so I was really thrilled when she said that she wanted to go ahead and try to make a docu-series out of this. And we went over to New York. We had about 5 interviews with really great people. So we're just working on cutting that together right now and shopping it around, and hopefully there'll be more to come.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I hope
Nice.
so.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned about diversity, right? Like Avatar, that's one of the things about Avatar that people were really, like connecting with, was one of the focuses of the show was to be more representative. And you went through this, of course, with Kung Fu being more representative than the original show and things like when you're looking at that, are you looking at it in, this is awesome, that we're finally getting here, or are you like, we still have a lot of work to go here?
It's a bit of both, I
Right.
think it has to be an ongoing thing, for people to really feel seen and understood. What's beautiful about doing this and having it be at the forefront is I think we're in the golden age of that right now, and hopefully it just continues to happen. We're seeing people who typically have not had the opportunity to be the hero, the anti-hero, the protagonist of the story. Usually diversity has been sidelined to supporting characters in the background. But now we're actually seeing people get their own stories being told and being at the forefront of it, which is, I mean, it's a wonderful thing. We need to keep that going for it to be a mainstay and for it to be normal in the conversation. I've always told people, I'm like, for me, I feel that the work has been not done, but will be satisfactory when it's no longer something special to talk about, when it's just it's
Right.
there as normal as anything else.
Yeah, when
No, of
it's
course.
the norm and not the exception, as you're referring to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's yeah, I just like it because it's like it's new interesting stories. There's new things you can tell, like, and I don't know why that's been such a problem for so many years, but well, I do, but it's unfortunate that that's the way the world has worked up to this point. But you know, people like yourself and the rest of the cast of Avatar, the cast of Kung Fu, the other shows you're working on, like there's you guys are all stepping up and doing what you need to do, and that's awesome. And we thank you for that.
Yeah. And I mean, the biggest thing about one of the bigger messages in Avatar is about unity. Um, and what a beautiful way to showcase that unity, and to have that at the forefront. It shows, and it hopefully will be a bridge for people to have an appreciation for what they're seeing, and an entry point and a connection to a different culture, to a different things. So that's the whole thing, is about bringing people together, and as they're bringing together the four nations, the underlying story of it all. So
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. It's a great series, and I'm looking forward to the next installments as they come. And of course, the work you did on the show was great, and I look forward to you popping up on Superman as well. Oh, sorry, Superman and Lois as
Yes.
well. Okay, I
Thank
almost forgot Lois. It's International Women's Day. I almost forgot Lois. That's bad. That's bad. But Superman and Lois as well. I'm really looking forward to that. And of course, whatever else you got coming down the pipe. Is there any chance you might end up directing again anytime soon?
I would love to. I think I might be doing a small project at the end of the shoot for Superman and Lois. So fingers crossed, but we'll see.
All righty. Well,
Nice.
hopefully that
Yeah.
works out. And if it does, then it ends up going like showing up on some kind of platform. We'd love to have you back on to talk about that
Absolutely.
as well.
Thank you guys.
All right. Well, have yourself a great night.
Yeah, you too. This is so fun. You guys are always such a pleasure to talk to. So thanks for having me.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Thanks,
All
Yvonne.
See
right.
you
And we'll
later.
get the supermarkets eventually.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
going to get it eventually. Eventually, it's going to happen. We're going to get them to tell the truth. We're going to bring the lies out into the street, into the light.
Yeah. It's not just
Okay.
about pricing anymore.
That's what your next docu-series should be about. Us
Yeah.
taking on big grocery. It's going to happen.
Taking big grocery. All right, guys. Love it. You heard it here first.
There you go.
Thank you guys.
All right. Have yourself a great night.
Pleasure.
Have a good
You
night, Yvonne.
too.
Bye.
Bye.